Hello everyone, this is General Rage Quit, and after 7 months I've decided to make another video. I was planning to make more videos, but I simply didn't get around to it, and I was more interested in playing for myself than actually making videos all the time. This due to the fact that I have to work these days from 10:30 to 6, so when I get home I eat, and after that I just want to play, and then I go to sleep. And in the weekends I'm pretty much just being selfish and playing for myself. But I'm back today with a Guardian Druid video for the tank challenge. And there's been several people who've asked me how I've done it, because I've done it with, as you can see here, with the gear that I used for it, 902 item level, which is 9 item levels lower than the average. So I'll just go through the gear, and the talents, and my tactics as well, what I use. Normally people would show you a video, but of course during the time I killed it, I didn't record it, so I can't show you how, like, the actual gameplay of it. And the other gameplay that I have is without the current item setup that I have, so you don't see what I actually do. So I'll just go through the talents first. Let's have a look here. So you need Blood Frenzy, and this is because if you don't use Blood Frenzy, you won't have any rage during the first phase against the Inquisitor. Because the only thing that you do essentially, you're just having a trash simulator against him, and you never get close to him. You only attack him with like a mangle when you go in for an interrupt. And with the setup that I'm running, you even don't need to interrupt him with your normal interrupt. You can interrupt him with your roar and your trinket, but I'll get into that later. My second talent is good for roars. I use this one just because of the increased radius for incapacitating roar, which I use to interrupt the Inquisitor, and to reduce the cooldown stampeding roar, which is useful to run around. Then you need Balance Affinity. It's like if you don't run Balance Affinity, it's basically like you're making it so incredibly hard for yourself that it's pointless. Because you need that extra range to trash the boss outside of his area. Then I use Mighty Bash. I use this more for crew. It's like I've seen people run Typhoon, but I feel like Mighty Bash helps more on crew, because combined with my trinket and Mighty Bash and incapacitating roar, and then combined with the healing orbs, you can keep him stunned for a really long time. Then Incarnation Guard of Ursok. This is like vital to use in the first phase, because essentially what you do is you activate it, and then you just sit there, press trash all the time. Just press trash, like nothing else. Like that's the easiest way to nuke him down. Then Garner Valoon. This is more, I use this more for when I go in for the interrupt, or when I get close to an Inferno to hit it with Mangle, then I can get like extra healing on your Frenzy Generation, which makes it so that you don't have to pick up the orbs as much. And then Rend and Tear, because the other two are completely worthless. It's like you never get close enough to use Pulverize all the time. And Lunar Beam is overall just a shit talent to begin with. So that's like basically a no-brainer there. It's like Rend and Tear, 100%. So that's for the talents. Now I'll go into my gear. So the two legendaries that I'm using, as you can see here, are Skysack's Hold and Love for Wrappings. Essentially what you want to have is Love for Wrappings or Accurate. Because if you don't have one of those, then you essentially don't really have the range. Then you need to play really frisky to get into range. I haven't tried it without, because I was like, why would I try it without when I have it? So I would strongly recommend having either Love for Wrappings or Accurate. And then I use Skysack's Hold for just the regeneration always heals more, which is really nice considering that you don't always get to use the mango for the extra healing, and now you always have like guaranteed healing. This really helped me save up my orbs instead of having to use them. When you have higher item level, like the people who actually do it with the correct item level, like 9, 10 plus, they might not need this, and they can use like a DPS oriented one. It's like, for me, the most optimal one is using the legendary legs with the 2 trash applications instead of Skysack's Hold combined with Love Wrappings, because then you just do gold-like amounts of damage and you just kill it before you get like the second Infernal up. And then when it comes to gear, what did I do otherwise? Literally I just looked at my trash damage and I just looked, how can I get that up? Well, how can I get the highest? So I just geared myself around getting the highest damage on just the bleed and the initial effect. That's literally how I geared for it. So as you can see here, I have like almost 12k mastery, and then I have like 6.6k versatility, and then like a little bit of random haste and crit. Of course, agility enchant with the agility gem Mark of the Hidden Satire, because this is more of a DPS race than anything else, especially in the last phase. Versatility gems gives you the highest damage upgrade for a gem on your trash, that's why I use that one. And then for my trinkets, I use a Horn of Valor. So what I do is when I pull the boss, the first one, I pop Guardian of Earthshock and instantly this one, because that means that I have 4.5 k agility extra for 30 seconds, which is the entire Guardian of Earthshock, which means that means that you do a fuck ton of extra damage, combined with the prolonged power pot that I pop at the same time. That means you have a shitload of extra agility, and you can like burst down as much as you can in that phase. And then this one might seem a little bit weird, Gift of Radiance, but the on-use effect is so useful in this fight. So what you can do is that you wait until the last second of Mind Rant, and then at the last second of Mind Rant, you interrupt the cast on Inquisitor, which means that you don't get that hit on you, which means that you don't have to pick up, you can leave the healing orbs longer, which is like, not essential, but it's super nice to have. It's like I used, where is it? Excuse me for the shitload of items. I used Elemental Foca before, but it didn't feel as good. It's just like a buff every now and then. It didn't really feel like it added that much, and the uptime wasn't super great. And with this thing, the utility from that use effect was godly for me, at least. Especially like in the last phase with Cruel, I managed to delay his annihilation with so much because of Gift of Radiance, Mighty Bash, and then Incapacitating Roar, then using a Healing Orb. It's like those things were so viable to keep extending that annihilation to just not apply. And then an extra trick, but this only works if you're a Knight of Druid, because other classes can't do this, other races can't do this. What you can do is that you, when Crew costs annihilation, you Shadow Melt. And what happens during Shadow Melt is that you lose aggro completely. And what he does then is that he instantly starts recasting it on Corvus, the Demon Hunter. So that means that you like dodge one complete application of annihilation, which means that you can extend the fight for a lot longer. And like this, I used it properly, but I used it like out of safety just on the first annihilation, because it tends to like you tend to like get really stressed in your head when you're like at the low percentages, and you might fuck it up. So I just did it like early on, so that the first application went on Corvus. And let's see, yeah, that's about it for the talents. It's like it was really stressful for me. I just managed to. I almost got knocked off by the actual by the pushing beams from in the Cruel phase, because I was too busy like trying to run away from Cruel. Let's see. Let's go into the abilities and how I use them. So, Guardian of Earthshock, I explained that before. You used that combined with Horn of Valor at the start, and then during the Cruel phase, you wait with Guardian of Earthshock until, or with Horn of Valor. You leave that off, like on cool, until Guardian of Earthshock comes up again. Then you pop Guardian of Earthshock together with Horn of Valor, and together with Drums of Fury, and together with your second potion on Crew. Like you just pop everything there. You just start like spamming that trash button like mad. It's like, and you just have to like run around slightly so that you don't get knocked off by the slams, because everything will just die really quickly with that. Yeah, that's for the big cooldowns. Now I'll tell you how to use the little cooldowns. So the first Netherstorm adds, you will kill those with Guardian of Earthshock, because you have unlimited trash spam, so you can just kill them when they come in. The second one, you use Raise the Sleeper. So when they come to you, you raise the Sleeper them, and then those little ass die. Then on the third entry of the Netherstorm adds, you wait until they start casting their little Netherstorm, and then you use Incapacitating Word to interrupt them. So that's for those cooldowns. When do you use Mighty Bash? Basically on cooldown, apart from when you see that you're almost into the last phase, in Cruel phase, because then you want to save it, because you need it to interrupt Cruel. In a Stampeding Roar, you just use this for mobility when you need it. There's not really like, oh my god, you need to save this for a particular moment, you just want to save it for when you need it. Frantic Regeneration, you use this one just for like keeping yourself up. Preferably you use it after you interrupt it, and then you use some Mangle with Guardian of Elude for the extra healing on top of it. And let's see, it's another cooldown. Survival Instincts is just for when you want to like soak it out longer. It's like there's no real specific time. Although I recommend saving like at least 1 stack and like halfway through to in the recharge for Cruel, so you can use it to soak the later annihilations. Because like the first one and the second one you can survive with Iron Fur, and then like the second one with Iron Fur plus Bark Skin. And then you use because the Radiance like essentially on cooldown. I just use it on cooldown to interrupt. Is there anything else in terms of like explaining what to do? Yeah, there's not that much else otherwise. I'll switch now to a little like drawing I made in Paint, and I'll show you what I do in the first phase and how I walk around. And then I'll talk to you more about what I do in Cruel. Let's see. Oh, almost before I forget. What do you use as your flask and your food? Well, the flask is fairly easy. It is the 7 demon one. That's the one you need, because you need that agility for damage. And then for food, and this might surprise you, but this really made the Cruel phase really easy, because that nether stomp that he does there slows you down so much. And when you have Bear Tartar, you can just kill one of the ads, and there's like ads coming in all the time. So you can just murder them. And that makes you sprint around, and that makes it so easy to kite Cruel around, and all the ads to kite them just around. You just essentially kite around and run around. And like it was like a game changer for me, because I used like versatility food before, but then after I used this, I went slower to the first phase, but the last phase was so significantly more easy. It was insane. So I'm gonna switch now to my Paint drawing, which is 10 out of 10 in quality, I must say, and I'll show you what I do during the phase 1. So you're wondering, why didn't we go to the Paint? That's because I forgot to show you one of the most important things of this video, which is, what does my artifact look like? Well, I talked about it before. You won't have trash relics. I have 2 trash relics at the moment. Both of them are 890. One from Tichondrius and the other one from Marshals, I think. And then I have a fire relic here, but I never got a fire trash relic. But essentially you won't have a fire trash relic as well. Then you're wondering, what more do I need? You want to have positive outlook. You really want to. When I killed it, I did it with 49 traits. You want to get positive outlook, and then instantly after that you take Jagged Claws. Like once you have those, you're sort of good to go. You want to have Wild Flash as well. If you're purely going for, I want to get that tank challenge done. If you don't want to purely get the tank challenge down, then there's obviously better paths to follow, which you have to go look for at Icy Veins or some other website. But if you're purely going for, I want to get this tank challenge done, Jagged Claws first, then Wild Flash after, because those 2 are the ones used the most on that fight. Yeah, that's all there is to the artifact essentially. You want to get as many points as you can. As I just told you, they did it at 49. But those trash relics are like important. Like they made all the difference in the DPS, because as I said before, 76% of my damage is trash. Well, if you have 70% extra damage on your trash, it's going to be a lot easier than if you have only 50% damage extra on your trash. So those are the things you want to aim for. And now we're going to go for real to my Paint part. So here we are in my Paint picture. And it's on my left screen, so excuse me if I have to look to the left. So here the purple area is where the Inquisitor is. The black circle is sort of the rough area where the orbs spawn. Then, as you can see there, like the orange ones are Velen stands, and then the blue squares are where the portals are. So, when you pull, you start obviously here, you run here. I alternate between starting from stealth and not starting in stealth. So what you do is you pop your Guardian of Ursok, and if you have the Horn of Vel like I did, I popped that as well, together with my first potion. And then I just stood there on the edge, and like outside of the field of course, and just start spamming trash. 30 seconds of just pure trash spamming. If an eye spawned here, I looked at it like that, so it didn't get knocked back, and I just stood there like trash, because trash is like AoE, so it hits around you anyway. So once that ends, you just like, there's probably like an eye here or an eye there or wherever. You just moonfire it, get it over with, kill them as quickly as you can. Then the first Netherstorm ads are gonna come into you. You just deal with them with trash. And then you start like standing still until the first Infernos come, and then when the Infernos come, you start like running around like to the edges. like running around. If you have high item level, you can make circles around it. If you have low item level, you want to play a little bit more safe and stand near Valen so that you can, so that you go like here, and then you double back on yourself and like go back to a healing orb if you need it. Then the second ads come in, interrupts, of course. Like when the interrupts comes, what I just do is that I'm like there now, interrupt, charge in, and then run straight to the other side. That's what I tend to do, because then if there's an infernal on you, that infernal is gonna be like, lel, he's gonna be there, and you're gonna be here, which is like nice distance between you and them. Then you have like nether storms coming in. The second one, you deal with them by using your Rage of the Sleeper, and then the third one, you just wait them out and like interrupt them with your incapacitating war, and then after that it's like sort of like how you deal with it. It's like I tend to like use an orb to just deal with them and like take them out easily. What you need to remember when you have an orb, when you use an orb and I say like an eye there, and you run here, there's an orb, you moonfight it, and it's like at half HP. When you run into the orb, it's gonna lose the moonfight, so you have to like run a little bit back, moonfight it again. What you should use the orbs for, it's like when you're feeling a little bit like, of course, when you're low HP, but also when you feel like you're getting a little bit overwhelmed. Sorry, excuse me. And then you use it to sort of reset the playing field, because the ads are going to be like standing still and like being confused. And then you can like reposition yourself. For example, what I did, that I like quickly ran over to the other side, sometimes with Stampeding Roar, because the Infernos are going to be like here. And then you run to the other side, kill all the ice on the way out, like dot them up, all of them. And then you're like on the other side, and then I just start like trashing around like here. So that's sort of how I dealt with ice and the orbs. So the most ideal area that you have is like, let's see if we can draw it around. It's like you just want to always be around like the edge of the circle. You just always want to be around it, because you want to trash the boss. Like the main damage on the boss is going to be trash. After that, Moonfire and like Mangle and like random crap. It's like Rage of the Sleeper, that shit. But the main damage on the boss is trash. I think when I killed it, my 76% of my total damage was trash. So that's where the trash relics come in. Like you need to have like 2, 3. Ideally, you want full trash relics, and you want to have positive outlook. Don't know if I really went over that at the start, but that's what you want in terms of traits. I'll put that extra in now because I think I forgot that to say that. But that's sort of how you want to deal with this phase. It's like literally just running around all the time, trashing. If you feel like you can't handle that, you need to... what I did is literally just get more trash relics. Optimize your gear more so that you get more damage out of it. I think my trash did around 370k damage per time I used it. So that's sort of like the damage you want to aim for. Like lower, it felt a little bit like... You can of course have a little bit low, but you want to have trash damage as high as you can. Literally just, when you look for your gear, just look for trash damage. Like look how much your trash damage goes up. That's the only thing you need to care about. Like haste and crit, yeah, okay, they work. But mastery and versatility, those are the two ones you want for. Because mastery and versatility, they don't only give you reliably always their damage, they also increase your survivability, which is like important. You can do it with lower item level, but I really recommend minimal 900 item level, because even with 902 it was super close for me to do it. Yeah, that's sort of how you deal with phase 1. And then in phase 2, let me take away the white one here. So Vela is still going to be in the same spot. The black area, that's still sort of the same area where the orb spawn. When you first engage Cruel, where you want to have him is here, like that area. That's where you want to have him, like here. You wanna know why? Because of the Nether Storm ability, Nether Stomp ability. You want to have that here. You want to have it as far away from Valen as you can in the start. You wanna know why? Because if you get it here to start, and you're in the late phases, that means that you have to like run all the way around to get to the orbs in the later phases, which is or later stage of the fight, and that's what you not want. You want to have like as much here as you can, like get it there, and then like slowly work your way towards Valen. That's like the ideal situation. What ended up for me was that I put like the first 2 stomps like sort of here, and then I started running around, so they sort of like fell like here behind me, and then like I had like one fell here, so I ended up like having like this half like completely ruined with Nether Stomps, and then I like had to like sort of like wiggle around Valen a little bit to get enough space. But in this phase, that bear tartar is going to save your ass. Every time those ads come in, like in the first session, like, oh my god, there's Netherstorm ads, I hate it. But in the last session, it's like, oh, Netherstorm ads. Because when you kill them, he just goes so fast. You can like outrun Cruel so easily. Another important part here in this phase is deal with Annihilation. Try to extend it as much as you can. Like, save your stun for like when it's almost full. Use Incapacitating Ward when it's almost full. Use the Healing Orb. Try to get to it when it's almost full so that you cancel it out and like he has to fully recast it. And then when you're a Knight of Druid, use that Shadow Melt to get rid of one of the Annihilation stacks so it goes on the NPC instead. Which is like helped me so much with my lower item level to do it. I think if I wasn't a Knight of Druid, I couldn't have done it with my item level. Because I felt like I needed that last Trash Relic because I only used 2. I never got a Fire Relic. It like was just bad RNG. But yeah, that's sort of what you need to like take into consideration. Where do I put the Nether Stomp? Because that, in my opinion, like Annihilation and all those like beams that come in, like that push you off, that come in from like the 4 sides, or I think it's 4 side, that push you, that go like in different directions, so they try to push you out. Like those are annoying, but the Nether Stomp, that's the lethal ability. That's the one that can seriously ruin your day. Because what the Nether Stomp does is like it does a fuck ton of damage, so you need to constantly run out of it. And that's again where that Bear Tartar comes in, because it also slows you. And with Bear Tartar, you just run quick, and you can run out of it. But it also makes it so that like certain terrain is like sort of impassable. So you want to like make it like a cluster, so you can have like a cluster like around here ideally, where you have like most of the Nether Storm, like a Nether Storm here, a Nether Storm there, a Nether Storm there. I made a face. Anyway, that's sort of where you want it, so that you can have like an area that you can run around to get to the healing orbs. Like that you want to go to the healing orbs essentially just after Nether Storm, and then like move back towards the area where you were going before, so that you can put the Nether Stomp in like ideal position instead of like having it like spread all over the place, and you have to like think so much. You want, because that phase is going to be hectic as fuck. It's like it's sort of as fast as I talk now. That's how quick you need to think. It's like you really need to be on your toes and constantly think, where's Crew? Where am I going? Where are the Infernals? And like during the burst part where you have like Ursoc, your drums and your potion up, you don't really have to think about them because you burst everything down really quickly, but after you have to think. It's about survival, surviving the annihilations and like extending their duration as like their cast as much as you can, and running around like a madman and spamming trash. Like essentially this entire fight is Trash Simulator the game. That's this fight. Like as I said before, 76% of my damage, trash. Literally, I just set there like my trash is bound to my Q button, so I just sit there like Q. That's just me the entire fight. And other than that, it's like on Cruel is like run around, mangle him, use the empowered buffs that you get, empowered like the longer duration Iron Fur, longer duration Mark of Ursel. Essentially what you want to do is that you want to have both Mark of Ursel and 1 stack Iron Fur up at the same time. And then when Annihilation is incoming and you have extended like once, maybe twice, then make sure that you build up like Rage so that you can like pop as many Iron Fur stacks as you can in a row. So that you have like as many as you can to not die from Annihilation. And like as soon as that Annihilation comes, just keep running again. It's like just take like a little break, like catch the Annihilation, then start running again. It's like that's how it is, because like during Annihilation it doesn't really do that much, but you also have to think then like when he does Annihilation, you like 1 or 2 seconds after that, so you like stand still, catch it, then instantly start running again, because Nether Stomp like comes almost directly after it most of the time for me. So that's like even more hectic than phase 1, and you just have to practice it. It's like don't get disheartened when you get killed there, because you just have to practice it. It's like I think I did the first phase, I had to practice like, I did it like 50 times and I got knocked off really stupidly, and I like tried to force too much damage out, so I died stupidly because I took too many debuff stacks. And then like actually Crew, it's just a matter of like trying it out like 5-6 times, getting like long in it. I had like a 2% wipe, a 6% wipe, a 7% wipe. And it's like you learn more every time, and it's easier once you get the hang of it, but it can be very hectic. It's like the contrary to the first phase where it's sort of easy to predict things. Like Cruel is just like, it's hectic all around, and sometimes you just like panic running towards the orb to get like healing and like save everything. But yeah, that's sort of all I have here. Like all my tips that and like all the things that I used. It's like last phase essentially is a cooldown popping fest, but you want to save your survival instincts and like to the absolute last moment to soak that annihilation, that last one. Because if you get to that one annihilation when you're like 6% like I had like an annihilation at 6% HP on the boss. Once I survived that one, I knew stay alive and you're gonna get the boss, and that's just what you have to work towards, like surviving that annihilation like 6% or lower, and then you're gonna do it. So if you have any more questions, you can put them down in the comments below. And if you really want more advice, like I can even go as far as adding your Battle.net, and we can talk a little bit more in depth about it. But the comments should do fine, unless you want to ask it to me in personal because you like feel a little bit embarrassed or something. So yeah, I hope people enjoyed the video. I will try to upload more, but my working schedule is still the same, and I still want to be able to play games for myself, which I've been prioritizing in the last period of time. So thank you for watching the video. I hope you got something out of it, and I'll talk to you guys the next time.